Good morning, church.
Good morning.
Happy Sabbath. How are you all today? How are you all today? Are we awake? All right. Praise the Lord. It's raining outside, but not inside.
I'm afraid of what you're going to tell us.
It's good stuff, as always. So today we're going to discuss something that's not talked about that often, but it's something that we deal with, a lot of us. And a lot of us deal with it in the church, and that's issues with our mind, mental illness, depression, anxiety. A lot of these things we deal with. So we're going to talk about not specifically mental illness, but things that can cause or be the gateway to causing these problems and how we can get victory. So what is mental illness? Mental illness is a health condition involving changes in emotion, thinking, or behavior, or a combination of these. Mental illness is associated with distress or problems functioning in social, work, family activities. Mental illness is very common. But like I said, we're not going to specifically focus on mental illness, but some of the causes. So we have a quote from Sister White, and it says, "Those who would fall a prey to Satan's devices must guard well the avenues of the soul. They must avoid reading, seeing, or hearing that which will suggest impure thoughts. The heart must be faithfully sentinel. Our evil angels without will will awaken evils within, and the soul will wander in darkness." So what are some of the causes? What can cause this? Here's another quote from Sister White. It says, "Satan's strategy is to confuse the senses. Satan's strategy is to confuse the senses. Satan's work is to lead men to ignore God, to so engross and absorb the mind that God will not be in their thoughts. Satan does not wish for people to have a knowledge of God, and if he can set in operation games and theatrical performances that will so confuse the senses of the young that human beings will perish in darkness and while light shines all about them, he is well pleased." So we know that we are assaulted nowadays with media, from telephone, from video games, from television, so much media, so many distractions. And of course, that's Satan's devices, right? If he has us so distracted, how can we hear God's voice? How can he? And that's a part of our well-being. That's a part of being whole, is our mental health. Because the mind controls the whole rest of the system. So there's a book that I've read. And it's a really interesting book. It's written by a medical doctor, but he's also a pastor. So you get both from the spiritual and from the medical. And he talks about mental illness as well as demon possession, which is very real, but you don't really hear that in the medical profession. You don't really hear about demon possession, but it's there. So I'm just going to give you a short little example of a little boy that was in the book. His name was Florian. And he was a good little boy. He was 8 years old, but all of a sudden he started acting strange, very strange. And he was fascinated with this cartoon called Dragon Ball Z. I don't know if any of y'all ever heard of that. This is popular. He got very fascinated with that, and his behavior changed really bad. So anyhow, the little boy was doing this, and come to find out, the little boy was reading some books that he found at his grandmother's house, because his uncle got involved in secret societies and left the books at her house. So the little boy was reading it secretly, and this opened up, it allowed Satan access to him. And so they found the books and they burned the books. And they prayed for the boy, and it looks like he was better. But then he was possessed again, like the demon came back. And the demon would speak and say, "I'll be back." So they said, "Well, let's search again and see if we missed anything." And lo and behold, there was another book that they found. And then they burned that book, and they prayed for the child, and he was delivered. But it was those books that was giving Satan access. But it's not just books, it's videos, it's movies, it's video games, certain things that we watch on the phone allow the devil access. So there are a few really good Adventist ministries. One is Little Light Studios. We love Little Light Studios. They have lots of DVDs on Hollywood exposing the darkness. So you guys check it out. It's called Little Light Studios. They're on Facebook, YouTube. Really, really good. Another one is called Media on the Brain, and this is by Scott Ritzema. And he has it's really, really good about exposing and how to protect yourself and your children. And last but not least, it's not just the videos and movies, it's music. Music has a powerful effect on the mind. Actually, some young men, they listen to rap music and get pumped up before they go out and do drive-by shootings, just by listening to the rap music to get pumped up. What do you think? You think it's just the music, or what's behind the music? It's what's behind the music. So this one is on music, and you can find most of this stuff on YouTube, and you can watch the whole thing. So what can we do? We want to make a covenant with our minds. I will set no wicked thing before my eyes. Psalms 101, verse 3. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Philippians 4:6-8. Do not be anxious for anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts in Christ Jesus. So as followers of Christ, what do we need to do? Watch our thoughts, for they become our words. Watch our words, for they become our actions. Watch our actions, for they become our habits. Watch our habits, for they become our character. And lastly, Romans 12:2 says, and do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. God bless.
Thank you.